Departation without a proper citation. Hello people. These days, all people who deal with any human issue belong to only one sex, who are regarded as communication genius. That is what men want. Their genius comes directly from the female sexual organs, and all other qualifications are only an embellishment to that natural inborn sex-related genius. This trend is becoming more prevalent in places with an active diversity policy. This is an inherent contradiction of the diversity movement, because diversity means trying to have all sections of society participate in everything. A person who needs a very high level of comfort needs most truths to be presented in a very weak and watered down form or concealed altogether. Sometimes such concealment is brought about in the name of science. It is not scientific, of course, to conceal truths, because concealing and twisting truths is a behavior of human beings and not a science. The comfort provider makes a pot of gold from comfort-loving people. The only losers from this popular deal are those forced to become a departed soul, a corpse, a cadaver, before they can testify about what is happening to them. For people to have a sensible conversation, they need to have similar comfort level requirements. It is not right that you cannot stand the least criticism, explode on hearing one unpleasant word, will break down, or simply scream death threats or do legal abuses to me, tell lies under oath that I acted mentally incompetent, while you yourself say awful things about me, and do not think that I am a human being who will suffer as much as you would suffer if you were in my shoes. All because you have massive human support, whereas I am hated and am being departed without a fair trial and investigation, and can be gunned down like a dog, dismissed, lied about, buried, forgotten, and no question asked. Happy. I have been threatened with death and told to take psychiatric treatment for saying that these sex-related geniuses are not treating me all that well, and always vote against me negatively. Because of loyalty to the entire female race that is growing, men treat me properly, as that would make women, whether lovers, friends, or even just colleagues who are growing unhappy. They need to be free of all recrimination, to be praised unilaterally, presented as guiltless until they have grown to full adult. So all men keep asking me to go to women's groups for all my human needs, to seek guidance from women, see them as having gigantic stature. Mentors to me, my leaders, masters and teachers, ones who provide the greatest compassion, the best social stimulus, the best in coming up with answers for my life. For me to roll up my eyes to women in reverence, accept their damning judgment with a meek, soft-spoken, submissive smile. Damning judgment, damning judgment, damning judgment. This is what women want men to do to me. Men also unanimously see women's perspective like the authority of God, as it repeatedly rules against me in courts of justice. Men feel helpless to rule against it when I suffer sexual abuse or torture, just as one would feel when one is suffering or losing out, but cannot change it because one feels that fate, destiny, and God have brought about their personal tragedy. I have nothing mentally in common with women, and they have always shown much less interest in things that interest me than men. The fact I cannot even access men to talk to, discuss things, be treated like a human being means I am to some extent living in prison under life imprisonment without a criminal record. I won't be able to go further until I have got human to talk to. Do you know one of the laws of economics that worthless things are available in large quantities? It is my mental illness to not be able to function when I can only have women. Nobody wants to be reasonable about this. All say I must be forced to change and do it from women, or it is my own fault if I suffer. Liberty, the only human rights organization in England, has got 100% female council members. Liberty's leader is a lady immigrated from India, renowned all over England for her magnanimity, womanly compassion, and milk of human kindness. Liberty only help and promote right to freedom of sexual orientation, closed to their own or closed to their hearts or closed to their political agendas. Indians dislike me, so why would liberty help me when men want them protected at the expense of others' lives? Stonewall, which is for homosexuals' rights to be treated like a human being, also will not help me because they only support homosexuals. Asian women's groups don't treated me properly as I had been married to a white man. All educated groups are surrounded by a thick wall of gatekeeper women whose job and joy it is to stop others getting what they want, while all educated men, even doctors and other liars, feel it is purely owing to my mental incompetence that I cannot overcome that woman barrier that stands between me and right to life. They feel I should get penalty for having such a hopeless and unforgivable mental incompetence. As such people, upon hearing these allegations, only tell me that I am lying. They claim nobody has ever wronged me and that I must see counselors or take brain medicines to change my opinions to believe people treat me well, but they quickly make excuses and go away when I want to talk to them or present evidences. There are no women's groups on the planet, nor have there ever been any, that will help a woman who is not challenged by the same things that are a mental challenge to most women. In short, as a person, a woman who is mentally challenged by the fact of living unsupported in an all-woman prison will only get tortured and legally abused until they get deported after keeping in a live coffin, or die, become a departed soul, a dead person, a corpse, a cadaver. This is like a Hindu honor killing and preserves the romantic concepts of gender relations among diversity-dependent people.